This is a behind the scenes Patreon members, free and paid, which, I don't know, is probably going to come out once a month for everybody. Just a snippet of what we do more often for the paid members, and also to do a channel update. What's going on? But first, and this is going to seem weird, I assume that the metrics on these kind of videos are the same as normal YouTube. So I assume that most of the people will last a certain amount of time and then people will dwindle, and at the end there'll be 20 or so % left. So I'm going to get this out first, and it's going to seem weird that I'm putting it in right now, but I've just had my lunch and I've just watched a video. I did a couple of weeks ago, I did the 5 channels recommendations with the ones for Patreon as well. One of the channels that I recommended that I think people related most with what I do is Coolabah Woodworks. I've just watched his video. He didn't, a few people had said, well, you've recommended him, but he hasn't done a video for a little while. Is he going to keep going? And I said, well, I spoke to him, he will. So I reassured people. Well, he got a video out today, I think a couple of hours ago. And the reason I'm mentioning it, and I don't normally do this and keep hammering on about you should watch these people, is I assume that anybody who's a member on this channel who's taken that extra step likes the videos I do. The video I watched from Coolabah, from Thomas, was about the closest I've ever seen any other woodworking channel to doing what I want to do. And by that I mean, you could have taken his script, his ideas, his whole video and gone, Mark, make that, and I would have been fully comfortable making it and putting it up on the channel, which is brilliant. So the reason I'm telling you is, yes, I could put it on my community page, and that's a post that goes out to the whole of YouTube, who the algorithm thinks would want to read it. But I figure there are 120 of you lot who like what I do and the style of the videos. I think this might be one of the better recommended videos that I can give you that will remind you of some of the videos I've done in the past. And I mean that with nothing but compliments and not saying someone's copied me. You know, it's not that. It's basically, if you like what I've done in the past, you'll love this video. Go and have a look and, you know, do the usual, comment, like, and subscribe if you like it. And yeah, let me know what you think, because he's taken 3 very expensive tools. He's made his own, but he's done it in a very me way. Feels like he's doing a bit of prototyping as he goes, but also he then leaves a polished item at the end, which I really like. Anyway, enough promoting everyone else. Let's talk about me. A lot of you saw that I was doing a lot of drilling, and I touched on it that I was testing out every countersink bit I could get my hands on. I finished that video. I've edited that video. I really, really am proud of that video. It's right up my street. And I'm going to come around to a reason in a minute as to why I've had to do those videos, this one and the last one, that are more tool related. So the countersink video should be out a week's time. I drilled, I think, 1,200 holes, give or take. You might notice in that video the first 2 were done without a wrist brace. The rest, ever tried drilling 100 holes with one of those combination bits? Not the Halo ones, the ones that's got the drill and the countersink. Just do 100 in a row without stopping. It is a lot. And I started to get repetitive strain after a little while. So I actually put on a full wrist brace that I happen to have, and that saved me. That's a lot of holes to drill, but it's worth it because I do have a nice, cheaper option that at the end of the video that I come to as a conclusion. So that's out in a week's time. I then have to follow that up, and I've told you guys and I've touched base with a couple of you about 3D printing. And that's what I'm going to start with in this video, because I think that's going to be really interesting. But I want to show you a prototype I've done, and I want to show you what my plan is for it, and I want genuine, honest feedback. You remember in a video, I made this. This was a planing stop that goes up against the side of your bench. You plane up against it, you can move it up, move it down, out the way. Well, turns out the grain wasn't quite so squiggly as I thought it was. I thought it would take the hammering, and because it wasn't grain crossways, it was kind of wiggly. Anyway, didn't. So I got on my 3D printer and I made option 1. It is, the trouble with the first one, as with anything, is you don't realize well, I don't, because I've never done 3D printing. You don't know the strengths and weaknesses of it. And that got me thinking that I'm way under engineering this. It's not like me. I need to go harder on it. I need to do something a bit stronger. So, and if you think this is a lot of prints, this is actually not. This is not even close. So, but I learned some stuff along the way I want to tell you about. I wanted to be able to stick a cork rubber, let me show you, a cork rubber piece on the front here. I wanted to be able to stick a piece on the front. And the problem with that is I didn't want it to go all the way down because I had another plan for this. So I actually made an overhang. I made this bit thicker, this strip, and this thinner by the amount of this. If you've ever printed something, this is so stupid now I think about it. I printed it this way up, so flat side to bottom. So this entire half wasn't touching the bed of the printer. And I expected that to be okay. Well, the printer built a load of tiny trees, 3mm high, to support it, because obviously it can't print into thin air. I did not think of that at the time. So instead, I made it in two parts, which, frankly, I'm considering to be genius at this point. Although for anybody who's ever used a 3D printer, it's pretty basic stuff. So my idea is you can glue on this, and then glue on your cork, pretty much the same thickness. I might have to skinny this down a bit, and that'll do the job. But then I thought I might be able to over-engineer this a bit further. Actually, it's only going to take 5 minutes. Should we just make it? And then I'll show you what all the other bits and bobs are. I'm going to move the camera for you so you can actually see what I'm doing, which is why I'm on this gimbal camera, if I'm honest. And the first job I'm going to do is to take a little bit of CA glue. I'm going to try and stick this down first. I think if I ever make another one of these, probably better off getting some reference pins so you sort of, I don't know, have it lined up. As it is, I'm just going to send it for now, just see what happens. I'm not going to use activator actually, I don't think. I think I'm just going to use enough glue to hold it in place. And it'll be a good experiment to see how much glue we need and don't need. Gosh, I haven't done a video like this since my first 5 or 6 where I just didn't shut up while I was building. Not that I shut up now, but at least I film the build bit slightly separate so I can edit out all the rubbish that I say when I'm thinking about working. Right, give that a second. I might just spray a little in case it catches some on the edge to hold it in place. Now you're going to be wondering, am I making these to sell? Is this a new business? Or is this just me being me? Honest answer is I have no idea. Not a clue. Trim it off a little bit first. Ugh. Right. Let's do it here. Just freehand it. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause you for a second. I'm going to spray this outside. I'm going to let it go off, and then I'm going to come back in and take over where I was, basically. Well, as I always tend to do, I changed my mind while I was spraying the spray adhesive. Probably went to my head a little bit. I need to get this video filmed. I'm in a rush. I've only got a few hours to do it, then got to edit it. So we're going to keep going, and we're going to come back to that in a second. But the idea is I'm going to keep prototyping these. Flip you around. And this is all going to be part of the Bambu Lab video, because I've already done some extra strengthening on the back here, because when I was planing against it, let me show you, the first couple here, I was planing against and they were coming away. But this now, absolutely, it's pretty solid. What I'm hoping will happen here is that basically when this is clamped against the bench and it's got the support in there, which is like this, but we cut the middle bit out, these struts that come out the front can be used to hold the piece laterally, I guess it would be. And I've made these 0.5 millimeter thicker, the bit that's in here, so they will definitely clamp against the bench. Like anything with 3D printing I'm seeing now, I'm gonna have to adapt it. I think I might have put too much overhang on. This might also be, I don't know, 0.5 millimeter too thick, because under compression, the cork is going to be much, much thinner. It's good. I've got to learn these things. And so I'll ask you my questions that I want some opinions on this. Do you have a planing stop on your workbench? Is this just something that I use? Would you use it? After the video of the wood that I showed you, did you even think that might be useful for you? Be honest. if this works, I will show you exactly what I had intended for it. So tell me, am I overthinking the whole situation? This may not be a business move for me. This might not be something I will ever sell or ever do anything with. It might just be that I've made a tool for me and I've made it for the video. I like to make videos that make things that aren't necessarily for everybody, that people won't go, oh my gosh, I need that in my workshop. I've got 4 other things that I'm doing, which are up in the house and I can't show you yet because they're not here. I can show you one. Promise not to tell anyone. This one. Oh, it got wedged on my biggest hand plane. It was stupid, I can't get it off. Basically, I get these antique hand planes, these vintage Stanleys, and I think record it fits. I really struggle with the thrust knob, thrust nut, thrust wheel. And I noticed that basically I was slipping on it, but it's a two finger job, which isn't supposed to be the case. So now with this star on it, I don't know if you can see that. Basically, you can flick it with one finger while you're using it. So while let's say you're planing forwards on a piece of stock, I've got to be able to see if you can see that. Basically, you can do it with one finger, no questions. Now, I did get really excited when I made this, and I thought, this could sell. This is something that is so simple, but everybody has a hand plane, and everybody must have similar problems with it to me. I don't know about the modern ones, but definitely the antiques, especially if you're using it on a shooting board. Just tip this on its side a bit. If you're using it on a shooting board, and say you're holding it like this, you can just adjust it with just a movement of a thumb like that. And I think, maybe I'm just overthinking it, but I think that is so simple and so effective that maybe that might be the star of the show. Tell me what you think. It might not be. It might be that you've got a hand plane and you're perfectly happy reaching in with 2 fingers, or maybe you've just got a better thrust wheel than I have. The reason I'm a little bit on the fence of whether it's going to actually turn into anything is because after a little bit of research, I realised that Rob Cosman over in Canada does a brass one that you replace the wheel with. But I think that's something like 60 quid or something. And it's beautiful, it's stunning, it's tactile, it's everything you want. But this 3D print, I reckon I could probably sell it for about £7, £8. I don't know, I'm guessing here. And I can print them off easily and all of that. I don't know, is there something in that? Anyway, I'm not trying to make money hand over fist here. I'm not trying to sell everything that I do. That you just get lost in it if you do that. But, I don't know, it's an idea. Right, just going to go and check on this glue. This is either going to work or it's going to get messy fast. But the theory is, put your straight side against the overhang and then press it into place so the contact adhesive can do what contact adhesive does. Now, I know I should be leaving this and all of that, but and there you go. So, how's the best way to do this? Let me show you what my intentions are here. All this works off is some threaded inserts, and then you could just buy star knobs here. I'm gonna hold this up on my knee, put the star knob in. This is so janky, as they'd say, I think, in America. So let's. So the reason I've done this way up, I've got the. Let me show you. I've got the rubber side now facing out, facing the bench, and because you've got these long grooves here, you can basically clamp it against your bench, and it should. If I can get these 2 heights, the height of the insert and the height of the rubber, the same, what this will mean is that now I've got a really nice grippy surface to put a piece of wood up against to hand plane. What that means is you can just keep going and it keeps it really nicely flat. Before I show you the actual bar inserts, I did think of this, right? I thought if you have 2 of these, you could actually rest a piece in them. You just need a load of support at the end. Now, you probably do this with a block plane, but you know what? That's all right. Maybe there's some legs in those. They were just a thing that I thought up. But here's the real test, and I promise you I'm doing this for the first time with you. If you flip this upside down, screw it back in. My idea here is to have a support wedged in there and a support wedged in there. I made thicker ones and I made longer ones. So you can kind of decide if you want sturdy and thick or if you want a bit thinner. This is what I was aiming for. It's so thin that it could tip back and forth. So the idea is these jaws clamp either side. You then lock the vise down and they give you support laterally. I mean, these are going to need fine tuning because I think they're too thick. I think that the problem is they're pushing the vise out a bit, but it's the idea that you can still push and not go straight, because going straight is fine. But it's if you come across at a skew, you can end up maybe with the piece tipping. So the planing stop and the planing wheel are two of the things I'm going to show you in the 3D printing video, and I'm really excited about that. But now the last bit, and this is probably for the people who will watch the longest, the people who have been here the longest and the people who, I don't know, just have the interest in more me and the channel rather than the videos. I hope I haven't insulted anybody with that. It's just that the stuff at the end of these kind of videos probably gets washed over quite quickly by people. And I think that's fine. Come get what you need from me. You're supporting the channel, whether you're free or paid. I appreciate it. And none of what I'm about to say now is based on asking for anything. It's just a case of keeping you updated with where we are. The reason I'm doing tool videos, first of all, one, I get a good response from tool videos. Last week's video was the most successful one I've had this year, not just for total numbers, but for the speed they came. YouTube told me my subscribers clicked twice as much on them than they have on any of the build videos. And that surprised me, but I don't want to, this goes against everything you're supposed to on YouTube. I don't want to keep making just tool videos, but needs must at the moment. I need to get some views, sustainable, and more importantly, they take less time. Building anything takes a huge amount more filming angles, time, editing, all of it. There has to be a time you pander to YouTube and your own personal life. So what's going on? I started work again 2 days ago, and I know I was full-time YouTube. I technically consider myself now to be full-time YouTube, part-time, my old full-time job, which is a travel agent, by the way, for ski holidays, hence the winter startup. So I decided, and it took a lot of decision, to go back and do half a season. I would normally go back and do 7 intensive months where you work weekends and weekdays and just, you know, make the most of the winter season. Now I've decided to go back and do 2 months now and 2 months are in the new year. So about half a season, because they're the best months for busy selling, but also it gives me December off, which is a busy month for YouTube. So what that means is I get Fridays off. I get 1 day where I can do YouTube stuff. And I don't want to stop that. I am very passionate about keeping this going and you guys not noticing that there's been a dip in production. But 1 day doesn't lead to a lot. I'm doing 2 Patreon videos today, filming and editing and all of that. And then the hope is I'll finish off the boxes that I've been working on, and that'll be a lot for a day, but we'll get it done. I can produce and film a tool video in about 3 days. I can't do a build video in 3 days. That's about 5 or 6. I don't know. I don't know. It depends what you're building, but it can almost be 2 weeks sometimes. So I have to do those to satisfy sponsors I've taken and to get videos out there and to keep the ball rolling. It's just a necessary evil, I suppose. So the countersink one, for instance, that's done. I've got one in the works, but this might be after Christmas. But I went out, I'll tell you about it. I bought a load of Banggood tools. They've been offering me, I've been offered free Banggood tools for years now. and I've turned them all down apart from the first set, which was the mitre gauge and the rollers. And they were brilliant, but I don't want to be taking free tools because you can't give a fully unbiased review. So they then gave me affiliate links for those tools. So I've basically taken every bit of commission I've made over the year and a half since I've had them, and I've spent it all on tools. So I can do an unbiased review because I bought them. That's my theory. So that'll be coming up. I've got the tools, but it depends on filming times, etc. And I promised to start with this, but I'm going to finish with this. It's been difficult decision making to go back to work or to continue in my other job, but it's been harder because it's so lovely doing YouTube. Not always, every job's got its ups and downs, but it's so lovely having a community. And I wanted to just say thank you to one of you guys. I'm not going to details and name and all of this, but I got a lovely email 4 days ago, and it was thanking me. Don't all start typing. It's not, I don't need it. It was just a really nice, out of the blue, we've never met before, but thank you. Making woodworking affordable, showing like everyman stuff. I'm paraphrasing, but somebody reached out and they opened up on their life, told me about it, and it was just a lovely read, and it kept me going for a good week. You know, it's just lovely. So I want to say thank you. I'm not going to name and embarrass. They are a member. They will see this video, and it meant a lot. It was just nice. And that's, everyone will say you do YouTube for the money, for the sponsor money, for the ad reads and all of this. You have to remember there was 2 years I did this for free. I was making about $5 a video, and it was a community that got me through it. So to still have that community and to have it growing and to changing and ebbing and flowing is amazing. And I love that. And that's why you'll see more of these Patreon videos. That's why I'm not going to slow down on the YouTube, but I'm going to put more on here because I genuinely get more from it on a personal level. That is important. And I've talked about this on the channel all the time. Looking after yourself mentally is as important as physically. And I think it's only recently that people have started really talking about it. But I will have to adapt how I do things to keep that mental state good. Sorry, that was a little bit personal, but you know what I mean. Hopefully you know what I'm trying to say. It's a big thank you as usual. Whatever you're doing this week, this weekend, whenever this comes out, stay safe, enjoy the build, enjoy the process, have a great week. And as always, thank you very much. It's not lost on me that you're supporting me. Thank you.